Man, Rob from Boston. Rob, you actually are the first person, I've done many since, that I did a corporate Zoom for, a corporate event where my first time speaking to folks who were not first responders, man. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
your team was the first time I spoke to non-first responders. And I kind of want to ask you if you can talk on that a little bit. Like your team wasn't first
Sure.
responders and what was a takeaway from a first responder talking about mental
Yeah.
health to a group of folks who weren't first responders?
Well, not only weren't we first responders, Kenny, we're probably the most boring profession, accountants. And on top of that, I don't know if you knew, but I invited my niece and nephew, I invited my brother, I invited my sister-in-law, all the people I loved, the closest people, blood and co-workers were on that call. And the reason, and age range 20s to 60s, because I believed everyone needed to hear that message, because we're all human beings.
Mm.
Now, after speaking, I've always respected first responders, and after speaking with you, I respect them even more because life is hard enough day to day as it is. And then when you go to work, and you see the very worst things, people's worst nightmares come true, and you're witnessing them on a regular basis, that on top of the daily stresses of life, that I just love the first responders and respect them. And you gave me that whole new perspective when you were speaking at Jay Redmond's Overcome and Survive, where you could be driving down the street and that's where this bad event happened. And then you go to the store and that's where you had to help three kids that were choking or something like that. I never thought that everywhere you go is a potential trigger. Um, so I just love you guys and gals and thank you for all you do. Now, why did the message resonate with me? Because uh, day-to-day living can be very stressful, and sometimes at work or at home thinking I have to be the point person, I have to be the one to solve everybody's problem, doesn't work. And just you're saying there are too many of us, I'm reading it here on the shirt, to ever feel alone. That gives me permission to acknowledge when I get stressed out and to reach out for help and say, hey, I'm having problems with this issue. It's not a life or death issue, but it's a work issue causing me stress. Can you help me with it? Can we come up with a plan to solve it? So that message to me was so profound. And I remember a couple Christmases ago, I ordered a bunch of shirts and you called me, and I didn't know you that well at the time, but I was touched that you thought I made a mistake and was meant to order one shirt and ordered five. I said, no, Kenny, I'm ordering five and I want to order one for everyone I know. And then we got to talk and got a little more closer. And the fact that how many business people would call and say, we think you're ordering too much, right? So right then I knew you were, I always knew, but that also proved what a class act you are. So I love that message so much. It's so profound for me that I wanted to share it with my coworkers and the people that are closest to me.
No, I didn't know some of those folks were there.
Yeah.
I don't really get nervous ever presenting really, but when I was asked to do that, I was like, oh my goodness, this will be my first time ever speaking to folks who are not in my lane. And now to be honest, I prefer that now. The
Sure.
families, the friends, the people who love people like me because um, I may act in a certain way or respond in a certain way, and it's really important that you know that. Yeah, I do shop and raise my daughter and travel in the community that I serve, every tree, every intersection. I was just in Food Lion today. I've told it before. The same Food Lion, the same aisle. We did CPR on a 7-year-old right here in Chesterfield, and I can't go in there without seeing that.
Yeah.
So if I'm quiet after coming home from Food Lion, not because I'm mad at Candace or I'm upset or moody. I just, man, I'm reliving that again, and it's crazy to think that a lot of folks don't know that about their first responder. And that's why I enjoy talking to my friendships are so much better now. Everything is better that I've told people like Sam and my friends who I am and what I've seen and done. I think I know they understand it better. So anyway, I'm rambling too. I get to going, you know it. Thank you, Rob.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Rob.
Thank you.